Well, howdy, Plaidman here. Figure I'd just do a book review. Sorry I haven't gotten to the Wheel of Time show. Just realized that that's something I'm supposed to be finishing. And God, oh God, it's been busy. I got a little one and a wife and a miniature urban farm, as I want to call it. Meaning I got 3 dogs and I got 7 cats. That's a lot. And I got a whole lot of other stuff going on, new job, new other things. And I just figured I put on this hat, I might as well do the accent temporarily. So today what we're talking about is Sunrise on the Reaping. Yeah, Sunrise on the Reaping. Now for those of you who don't know, which I did not know that was the name of this book, but it is a book. Now this is part of the Hunger Games series. Now, there's Hunger Games 1, 2, and 3, right? And this is actually before 1. So it's a prequel, right? Now, there are technically 2 prequels. And it is very confusing. Now, so for clarity's sake, they did 1, 2, 3 books, right? They were very successful books, and then they made them into 1, 2, 3, 4 movies, right? And then the lady, Suzanne Collins, who wrote these books, she then made another book, a prequel, about President Snow, which I have not read yet. I am looking forward to read it, but I have not read it yet. So she wrote that book, and they made it almost immediately into a movie. I did see the movie. I thought it was a good movie. Have not done a review about it. I will do that later. But anyhow. Then she wrote this book, which is what I'm talking about today, because this is a book that my wife started reading. And if my wife reads a book, best believe, for the most part, with one exception I will get into, I'm going to read the books that she's reading because I want to know what she's reading. And not for any bad reason. It's not like I expect my wife to be reading, bad six-packed man, picking a lady up and, ravaging her in the haystack or something like that. That's not what I expect my woman to read. She's actually a woman of culture and reads primarily good things. However, I will say this. She started reading the books about Wicked. Now, we saw the movie, had not read the book. And then what happened was, in the process, I didn't like the main people, the main actresses in the movie. So part of me didn't want to support it. But I know that the musical is very, very popular. And I had never seen it or listened to it. So I didn't know much about it other than it was very popular, right? But then get this. My wife is very adamant about this is her movie. She really wants to watch this. So we do. We watch it with her sisters and sisters' boyfriends, and it's a whole thing, right? Totally fine. Good damn movie. Solid movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Wasn't my kind of movie, but it was good. And even as far as musicals go, it was a solid musical. I enjoyed parts of it a lot. I actually enjoyed most of it. There was a few parts that I didn't like, but for the most part, it was a solid movie, right? So Wicked, good movie. Then she decides to start reading the books that the play is based off of, my understanding. I know this is not what we're talking about, but it's important. She starts reading it, and then she starts talking to me about it and what's going on. And based on what she's saying, she gets, a third of the way through, and they still keep talking about how the mom is a whore and sleeping around with all sorts of people and yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking to myself, well, goddamn. I mean, I understand being a whore is bad, but why you gotta spend that much of a book on it? That just seems excessive. Like, isn't the book about how the mom had sex, fooled around, did bad things, was a whore, and then she gave birth to this green lady? That's the whole point, right? Like, she had 2 months absent or whatever. But that's what the movie shows. But the book is like, no. We have to really go into detail about all of her extracurricular activities. And Well, I don't really care for that. I don't want to read all this. Like, no, that's not what I want to do. So there are exceptions to books that my wife reads that I'm like, oh, skip that one, thank you. Just like I haven't read 50 Shades of Grey or the Twilight series. I don't particularly care. I did see the Twilight movies, but I did not see the 50 Shades movies. I draw a line. Anyhow, so Sunrise on the Reaping, Hunger Games, and if you did it in order of the analog, the story of it, this would be the second one out of 5 so far. I personally vote that they do another one in between the first and this one to get more story, if you will, on the bad guy, Snow. Because frankly, to me, he is not the main character, but he is a prominent individual in this world. And frankly, the Hunger Games really didn't show much about him, like they kind of did towards the end. But I want to know what makes this guy tick. Anyhow, neither here nor there. So, what this is about, this book, which they are making into a movie, I'm looking forward to watching. What this book is about is Hamish Aberdeen. Now, he's a guy, standard, has a brother, younger brother, has got a mom, his dad died in the mines. He's over at, the world, if you don't know, I'm sorry, I'm kind of glossing over a lot, but basically, there's 12 districts and then there's the capital. And these 12 districts are subservient to the capital. And 12 is kind of bottom tier. They do mining for coal, for power, that type of thing. And so our main guy, Hamish, he is in that world. He lives there, coal miners and stuff like that. But he's, young 16-year-old. He's got a relationship with a beautiful gypsy type girl, that whole thing. And every year they do the capital does this thing where they basically take a boy and a girl, from this area, and they bring them over to this thing, and it's a big televised event called the Hunger Games, and basically there's only one survivor. So they're taking 2 people from each group, from each district, and they're just putting them up against each other, right? Which is gnarly. It is not good. It is not happy time for anybody. To make it worse, District 12 is like a poor district. Nobody cares about them. District 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're doing all right. Their turnips are on a roll. They're okay. And so because of that, when they send kids over, they tend to be beefy, strong, capable, as opposed to normal people, normal kids, and they've taken to calling them careers. Now imagine fighting a battle where you just picked up a sword, you never touched one before in your life, and then the person over there, that's been his sole occupation for the last 20 years or 5 years, is just how to operate weapons and kill people, and that's where his mindset's at. So it's a little bit skewy, but that's the thing. That's the stick, right? And the whole point, in my opinion, of these books is to say, don't let your country get to that point. If you see it going that way, you should stand up, be counted, and say no, right? In your own way, protest in your own way. Don't let this happen. Now, most people have seen the Hunger Game movies, so most people know that Woody Harrelson played Hamish, right? Now this is before that, when Hamish, Woody Harrelson's character, when he was in his own reaping and how he won. So in a weird way, it's kind of like a Star Wars problem of, hey, how do you have people read this story? Now, I'm doing it all backwards. I read the first 3 Hunger Games, and then I'm reading this, even before the other book, which technically came out before. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think my wife and I, we bought the other book, and then we just didn't get around to reading it, because actual reading becomes difficult, so we do audiobooks, which again, I'm going to suggest you check out Libby. There's another free one, I don't know what it's called. This one now we got on Audible. So we're listening to it together because my wife doesn't have Libby. But yeah, anyways. So that's basically what this is. It's about Hamish and how him as a young kid and how he's doing this and this and this. He works, does stuff for his mom, who's local clothes washer, and then he works at a small little, good old boy still. And then he's a little bit of a troublemaker, a little bit of a rebel, and his name doesn't even get called in the repeat. It doesn't. But due to circumstances, he ends up going anyways as the representative from District 12, which is 7 kinds of messed up, but best believe by the end of the book, it gets exponentially worse. So all I gotta say, frankly, is that even though this lady has made now 5 books about the same subject, which is effectively called Battle Royale, which is also a movie, I think it's probably a book, she's created a world, and what I give her credit for is not only has she continued to expand it and add more depth and clarity to the world, right? But she's kept it interesting and made me care even more. And furthermore, having been a connoisseur of the first movie, I haven't read the first book, but the first movie, and then Hunger Games 1, 2, 3, and then 4 movies, 3 books, whatever, a connoisseur of those, this was a terrific, it was like a delicacy in a sense that, like with protein though, because I got to connect the two in ways that I didn't really think with, and it helped elevate my whole understanding of the story. And it made me actually want to request that there be another book in between this one and the first one, because my wife, she said it perfectly. She's basically saying, like, how the hell did this snow guy go from being what he was in the first book, which we haven't read yet, but we saw the movie, but like how he was there, how did he go from that to where he is in this? It is a big leap to go from bad boy to evil, conniving person, and we want to know what happened in between. And I hope she's working on it, because that'd be a great book for us to read. Now, here's the thing. This is an intense subject matter, so I don't really suggest you have your kid who's under 10 reading this, because it is gnarly, right? It is nasty. It is conniving. It is bad. This is kids killing kids. There's no two ways about it. That's the whole point about it. So I don't suggest youngins read it by themselves. You read it with them. You talk to them. That's a serious adult conversation you got to have, right? So that's all I'd say about that. As an adult, you should check it out, because frankly, not only is it good, but it is imperative that you, as an adult, realize that the onus is on you. If you want your kids to live a good life in the future, the onus is on you to make sure that they have that future and they don't have some crazy Hunger Game type situation. Because honestly, and there's a terrific point in there where a character asks, like, well, why are you not doing nothing? Why? It's interesting, and it kind of permeates the whole thing. Is like, why do you keep just bending over, right? And I don't want to get all political about this on this video, but it is a compelling point. So anyways, I'm going to leave you with that. Plaid Man out. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.